Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to Roland's TOEFL Junior RC, which is the reading comprehension. In our previous class, we did the announcement part from questions 1 to 4. And today we're going to move on to the next part, which is questions 5 to 11. And it refers to the following story. So you are supposed to read the story and then answer the questions here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we're going to do this together. Now, normally, and the way the task is intended is for you to read the story first from top all the way to the end of the story, and then read the questions and answer the questions. I would not recommend that you do this for this particular case for many different reasons, but I'll just tell you the main reason. The main reason is time management to effectively solve the questions, right? Okay. So let's say, for example, if you were to read the story and then answer the question, what will happen is you will read from the beginning all the way to the end, right? And that's going to take up time. And when you get to the questions, you might be able to answer some questions. Like, for example, the first one, what will be the best title for the story? Now, this kind of questions, you generally have to read most of the story in order for you to find that out, right? So this will be a good question, so no problem there. However, if you go to the next one, which says, in line 8, the word perform is closest in meaning to, well, even if you do know the meaning of the word here, performed, well, they might have multiple meanings, and it might be used in a different context, meaning a little bit slightly different. So we'll have to go back to line 8, right, in order to solve the question 6. So what we'll do is we'll be going back to line 6, and here we go. Unless I'm real in the game, line 8. That's my bad here. So we'll get to the word performed here, and we'll read the sentence, right? Bill performed much better when he was having fun with Joe in the schoolyard than he did when he was playing for the school team in front of a large crowd. Now, when you perform, when you're playing for a team, what do you think it means? So we'll go here and play. The answer here will be played, because we're talking about sport here, and when you perform in a sport, that means you played in a sport. So B will be the answer. Now, just like in this example, you'll have to go back to the questions, right? So that's not going to be that effective. So what we'll do instead is we'll just read the questions first. Okay, we actually read 5 and 6, so we'll move on to read number 7. Why is Bill upset? Okay, all right. Why is Bill upset? There is a further additional technique that you can use later on when your English proficiency is high enough. Then what you can do is you can actually read the multiple choice answers A, B, C, and D first, even before reading the passage. Okay, and stir yourself towards a direction. Okay, if the answer is going to be A, then probably in the story it needs to go in this direction. Okay, they need to talk about something that will point them to A, right? Obviously. So after reading A, B, C, and D, then it will give you a better idea of what the answer is probably going to be when you do read on the actual story itself. But for right now, for this class, we're just going to read the question. Now, why is Bill upset? Okay, just remember that. Why is Bill upset? So we obviously know that Bill is upset, right? Because or else they wouldn't ask like that. Okay, they will ask like, was Bill upset? But here he's saying, why is Bill upset? Which is a fact. So in the story, we do know that Bill is upset, and we need to know the reason why. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking for. All right, move on to number 8. Why does Bill play well when Joe is watching him? Okay, this question, why does Bill play well when Joe is watching him? Okay, so we also understood another fact. Another fact is that when Joe is watching him, Bill plays well. Okay, Bill plays well when Joe is watching him. So what does this mean? You know, we need to think a little bit about this question. When Joe is watching him, why does Bill play well, right? So if you think about it in another way, this is what we call inference questions. So we can infer, that means know something even without being told directly. Okay, what can we know from this? Okay, so we know that when Joe is watching him, Bill plays well. Which, in other words, when Joe is not watching him, Bill doesn't play well, right? Okay, so that's what we can use. But there's a little more trick to it. If we think a little bit about what's going on here, we do know that Bill is playing kind of sport, right? We don't know what the sport is yet, but we know that he's playing sport from the previous question, question 6. But, well, that was actually because I went up and read it. But anyways, so play well when Joe is watching him. What do you think this means? If you think a little bit, then we can actually guess, well, maybe, imagine in what kind of situation you do well when somebody is watching him. Well, it could be, for example, that person gives you confidence, okay? Or another thing that we could guess is that, well, when this person is watching you, you don't feel pressure. So you feel more relaxed when this person is around. Like, if you remember when you were younger, or maybe even now, when you are supposed to perform and maybe your parent or maybe the teacher who helped you practice for that event, if that person is there, then you feel more confident and you will be able to perform better. So that can happen. But another thing is that maybe you are very comfortable with the person. So when that person is watching you, you can play well. Which also, remember what the inference question, okay? So if you think about it that way, we're not sure whether that's true yet, but if you think about it that way, if Bill plays well when Joe is watching him because he is very, very comfortable with Joe, then what does it mean? So when he's not playing well, that means that he's around people that he's not comfortable with. And if you think about a sports event, that could be people that Bill doesn't know personally, and he might feel pressure when people that he doesn't know watches him play, so he doesn't perform well. Okay, that's something that we can think about. But we'll move on. We don't need to look for the answer right now. Okay. Number 9, why does Joe decide to gather a group of people? Why does Joe decide to gather a group of people? So we do know for a fact that Joe, decided to gather a group of people in the story. Now we just need to find out why. Okay. So in order to find out why something happened, there's always a cause and effect. Something causes the effect to happen. Now, the effect that happened is Joe deciding to gather a group of people. So what caused that to happen? Once you find that out, then you can answer the question. Now, this kind of questions, you can find the cause and effect before the effect. So what happened before that led this person to have this effect? Okay? Or it can come afterwards. It can be explained afterwards. We had this effect, and we did this effect because of this cause. All right? So we can just keep that in mind. Move on to number 10. At the end of the story, all of the people watch Bill practice accept. So, okay, look at question 9. It says, gather a group of people, right? So we know that the group of people came, right? And we just need to keep an eye out for the people that Joe did not gather, or even after he gathered, somebody who was not there watching him. So that's what we need to do, and eliminate the one that is not mentioned in the given examples. Now, number 11, why does the group have to be quiet when they go to the basketball court? Okay, why does the group have to be quiet? So the group, remember, is using the article the, which means a specific group. And we look at question 9, it says, Joe decided to gather a group of people. So this group is the group of people that he gathered, right? And from number 10, we see that all of the following people watch Bill practice. So this group here is watching Bill practice. Now, why do they have to be quiet when they go to the basketball court? Same thing, if that's asking for why, then there's always a cause for it, right? What caused them to be quiet? Okay, what cause led to this effect? Okay, so we will go back and read the passage now. And every time we get to the point of the information needed to answer the question, then we'll go back and immediately answer the question. Okay, so let's see. Did you see that? Joe said to his friend Bill. You are a great shooter. Bill caught the basketball and bounced it before throwing it again. The ball flew into the net. Bill, you never miss, Joe said admiringly. Okay, let's stop here a little bit, okay? I mean, usually I'll read on, but I'm trying to teach you the strategies. So here, we do know that he's a great shooter, right? And then if you go back here, they're playing basketball, of course, okay? Bill caught the basketball here. Okay, it says here, so we do know that you're talking about basketball here. So, and he also admiringly said, Bill, you never miss. So just with this piece of information, we can go back, go down here, and it says, number 8, why does Bill play well when Joe is watching him? Okay, so we kind of know, right? So when he's with Joe, he's doing well. So what does it mean? So probably it means that we will find some information about him not doing well. And let's read on to the next part. And it says, unless I'm in a real game, Bill complained, then I miss all the time. Joe knew that Bill was right. Bill performed much better when he was having fun with Joe in the schoolyard than he did when he was playing for the school team in front of a large crowd. Okay, so look at him complaining, right? Unless I'm in a real game that I miss all the time. So we kind of know that he's not feeling so good right now, okay? So let's go back. No, we don't need to go back. But over here, I just read the sentence that contained the word that we're looking for. Bill performed much better, and we actually went through that. Okay, so there's a comparison here. He performed much better when he was having fun with Joe in the schoolyard than, okay, this is the comparison word here. Okay, than he did when he was playing for the school team. So playing for the school team, and he performed much better. We know that the word performed here probably is going to be associated with playing basketball, how well he is playing the game. And over here, we have the word here, played, so we can straight away answer this as B. Okay, can we answer number 5? Okay, so far, Joe joins the team. Not likely, nothing about this has been mentioned. Practice makes perfect. Well, there is a chance, right? But if you think about it, the problem is not practice. The problem that is being presented here is not that Bill doesn't have enough practice, right? The problem here is that he doesn't miss. He doesn't miss a shot. Everything goes in. But he says when he plays the actual game that he misses all the time. So I don't think that is associated with practice makes perfect unless the practice here is about practicing in front of a large group of people or practicing the actual game. But if you think about it, how can you practice an actual game? Practice is practice game. It's always like that, right? Now look at the next one. Bill wins the big game. Well, yes, there is a possibility. There is a possibility that this is an answer. This could be your answer, but none of this information has been presented yet, right? Okay, and then we look at D. Bill's basketball problem. Well, this one is a real good candidate as an answer because we know what the problem is, right? The problem is that he plays well when he's shooting balls with his friend Joe in the schoolyard than in the actual game itself. Now that's the problem. His basketball problem is that when he's with his friend in the schoolyard, he plays really well, but in the actual game, he's not playing well. So D is a very good answer, but we will not choose it as a final answer yet. We'll just mark it as the most possible answer because the reason is we are still very, very in the beginning stages of the reading. let's look at the whole thing. It's only about 1/3. Yeah, it's only about 1/3 of the passage, right? The whole passage is about 35 to about 4. No, it's 35 lines here. It's about 40 lines. And we only read until maybe the 11th line. It's like a quarter of the story. Okay, let's read a little bit more. It says, maybe you just need to practice more, Joe suggested. But I practice all the time with you, Bill objected. He shook his head. I just can't play well when people are watching me. Good. So, okay, here, let's stop and go back to the questions. Okay. In the actual task, you don't need to actually go back and forth. I'm just trying to make the point here. Okay. So for number 5, we can immediately, with 100% certainty now, we can be sure to eliminate the answer. We can eliminate the answer B, practice makes perfect, because that's what Joe suggested, and Bill said no. Okay, I practice with you all the time, so practice is not the problem here. Okay, and we also know that, well, the focus is not going to Joe yet, so that's not an answer for now. But number 7, we can answer number 7, don't you think? He objected, and he's saying, practice is not the problem, so we kind of know what the problem is. Okay. What do you think is the answer? Let's read on A, B, C, and D and see whether what we've read so far gives us a clue as an answer among these choices here, A, B, C, and D. So A is he plays better in practice than he does during games. Okay, that is what he just said exactly. Look over here. What did he say? I just can't play well when people are watching me. Okay, and we did know that in the very beginning of the story, he's saying that, Bill, you never miss, you're a great shooter. So we do know that he is doing really well. And another part here is when he was playing for the school team, here, when he performed much better when he was having fun with Joey in schoolyard. So with all this information, we do know that A is the answer. A is the answer for number 7. He plays better in practice than he does during games. But just to make sure, we read the other choices and to totally eliminate them out. The schoolyard is not a good place to practice. Nope, nowhere in the story they say that it's not a good place to practice. So that is not an answer. Joe watches him too closely when he plays. No, he doesn't have any problem with Joe. Okay, he only has problems when he plays the actual games. Then the last one is his team loses too many games. Well, that has not been mentioned. He's just saying that he doesn't play as well when he's playing the actual game, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay. And then let's go back and continue reading. All right, so I'm just not comfortable playing when other people are around, which means that, Joe is okay. No, sorry, I went ahead of myself, sorry. This part, I just can't play well when people are watching me. So move on to the next one. You play well when I'm watching, Joe pointed out. That's because I've known you since we were 5 years old, Bill said with a smile. Remember what we tried to guess from the question itself, right? And the guess is correct. And it says, yes, because I've known you since you're 5. What does it mean? That means it's comfortable. And Bill said with a smile, I'm just not comfortable playing when other people are around. Okay, so this is just a repetition. It's a repeated information. Like over here, it says, I just can't play well when people are watching me. And then it says, I'm just not comfortable playing when other people are around. So we do know that that is the problem here. So let's go back to the question. Where is it here? Why does Joe play well when Joe is watching him? He's comfortable with Joe. Yes, that's the answer. We don't need to read the other choices to know that it's the answer. But let's just read on to totally eliminate the other multiple choices with a reason. Joe tells him how to play better. No, not yet. There's nothing like that happened. Okay, he gave a suggestion like maybe you should practice more. But then Bill actually answered that I always practice with you, right? C, he does not know that Joe is there. This is nonsense, right? It doesn't make any kind of sense because he's talking to Joe. Okay, and then D, he wants to prove to Joe that he's a good player. Nothing like that has been mentioned. He's just saying that he doesn't play well in front of people because it's not comfortable. Okay. Now, let's read the next one after that. Okay, Joe nodded and understood, but he also had an idea. Okay, the next day, Joe and Bill met in the schoolyard again to practice. After a few minutes, Joe excused himself. "Practice without me," Joe said to his friend. "I'll be back in a minute." So that was the idea, right? So he had an idea, he wanted to do something. Okay, but remember what happened before this. Joe nodded and understood, but he also had an idea. So he understood something, and then he had an idea. So that's the cause, and the idea is the effect. And what was the effect? What was the idea? So Joe hurried through the school building, gathering together whomever he could find. 2 students, a math teacher, 2 secretaries, and a janitor. Okay, here's the part you should stop, okay? Because remember when we read the questions first, they were asking that all the people, what does it say exactly here? It says, yes, all of the following people watched Bill practice except. So if this person here is not in that list, then it's not the answer. So let's see, who does he have here? Okay, students, math teacher, secretaries, janitor. Student, math teacher, secretary, janitor. Go back to the question. And what do they have here? We have a janitor, yes. We have a math teacher, yes. And then it didn't mention A or D, but, well, Joe gathered the people. And so Joe probably is going to be there. We need to read to the exact part of the story to make sure that Joe was there, but, well, very likely that Joe was there. And no basketball coach so far. So unless the basketball coach somehow appeared later on and Joe did not go there, then the answer, it will be D, which is the basketball coach. Okay? And then the last piece of information that we're looking for here is, why does the group have to be quiet when they go to the basketball court? Okay, go back, continue reading. When Joe explained why he needed them, everyone was happy to help. Joe reminded the group to stay quiet. Oh, okay, remember? Number 11 is, why did the group have to stay quiet? Okay? As they all went toward the school basketball court. As Joe had hoped, Bill was still practicing basketball. He made 5 baskets in a row. When you say you made a basket, that means that you managed to make it go into the hoop, okay, that you scored the point. He made 5 baskets in a row without noticing the silent people standing behind him. So, you see, without noticing the silent people standing behind him. So that's the reason why Joe told them to be quiet, which is so that Joe will not know that people is watching him, and he will be able to make these 5 baskets in a row, right? Okay, the next part says, "Hey, Bill," Joe called out finally. Bill turned. A look of surprise came over his face. "I just wanted to show you that you can play well without people watching you," Joe said. "Now, you'll have nothing to worry about for the next game." Yes, now with this, we know that number 5, that Joe didn't join the team. Yes, practice makes perfect. We already eliminated the answer. Now, Bill wins the big game. No, he did not play any game in the story. Okay, so we do know that we are talking about his problem, which got fixed thanks to Joe. Okay, and where is that? Well, as Bill said, no, why does he play well when Joe is watching? Okay. Yes, why does Bill decide to gather a group of people? Why? Why do you think he wants to do that? What's the idea? The idea was that, he said that he's not comfortable with people watching him, right? So A, because he wants more players for his team. No, it doesn't make any kind of sense. They were there to watch the game, not to join the team. So A is not the answer. B is because he wants to help Bill feel less nervous. Do you think it makes sense? Yes, I think it makes sense because Bill said that he is uncomfortable, which means that he's nervous and he doesn't do well. Now C, because he wants to show them his talent. Well, his talent, yes, but that's not the reason because he wants to help fix the problem, right? Now D, because he wants more people to see the Knicks game. Nothing about the Knicks game here. So the answer for number 9 is going to be B. Okay, and number 11. And number 10, yes, Joe was there, right? And the basketball coach, no mention of a basketball coach at all. So D is going to be the final answer. Now, number 11, why does the group have to be quiet when they go to the basketball court? Probably because he didn't want Joe to notice that there are people watching him, right? Okay, because Joe is telling Bill what to do? No, nothing like that has been mentioned. Okay, because they do not want Bill to know that they were there. Yes, this makes sense. How about number C? Because Bill likes to practice alone? No, he doesn't like it, but he just does better. But does he want to be doing better when nobody's watching him? No, that's not the problem. He wants to do better in the actual game itself. So C is not the answer. D, does the group need, because the group needs to listen to Joe's instructions? No. Like that's like Joe is telling them to listen to my instructions without any reason. But he told them to be quiet for a reason, because he didn't want Bill to know that they were there, so that he can do well and also gain confidence that, as long as I don't pay attention, I can do well in the shooting the basketball. Okay, that's it for these questions. I hope you learned something today. Thank you.